name is Tim Sales. I live and work out of Woodland Hills, California. I'd like to first say that you're not going to see glitz here, so please don't expect it. I'm not an entertainer nor an actor. I've created this video as a tool designed to educate people about a business concept that works for people who are willing to put 100% of themselves into something. See, it takes 200% to be successful in business. 100% must come from you. 100% must come from the business vehicle that you've chosen. Business vehicle meaning how you earn your living, how you support your family. I've seen people who relentlessly pour 100% of themselves into a business vehicle, profession, or job, but that vehicle doesn't have the capability to give back 100%. The mechanics of wealth are just not there. But no one has ever fully explained to you why it doesn't work and why it's a waste of your valuable time if your goal is financial success. This video is for the person who is willing to put in their 100%. They're only lacking the right business vehicle, the explanation of why it's right, and the evidence that it does in fact work. Even though I say you must put in 100%, that doesn't mean that you have to work it full time. I didn't. That doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice your family time, nor does it mean you have to have prior experience. I didn't. What I'll be talking about over the next hour is a real business, one where a real product or service gets moved to an inline consumer and a solid company gets built. What you'll learn right here has allowed me and an associate to build a $25 million company. Now, a $25 million company has certainly been done before. However, this was done where no employees were required. No accounts receivable, no accounts payable, no overhead, and very little inventory. Recently, I said those words to a business owner who said back to me, "Sounds too good to be true." My response back to him was that a good enough reason to stop looking? He paused for a couple of seconds, and then he said, "That wouldn't be very smart, would it?" What I suggest you do is not just watch this information, but study it. What I want to do first is create an equal playing field between people who know how to evaluate a business and those who don't. Because me explaining this business wouldn't be very effective until you understand how to place value to a business. The simplest thing for someone to do when they don't understand something is to go, doesn't work. The way I'll accomplish this equal playing field is to give you 4 main principles to look for in a business. Number 1 is a huge expanding market. If you were the best vinyl record producer in the world, would it matter today? No. It doesn't matter how good you are in an industry that's eroding. Number 2 is a unique and consumable product. I'll cover unique first. If you don't have a unique product, then you compete on price and convenience. Who has the best price? Who's closest to the customer? Yet if you have uniqueness, then people must come to you. Next is consumable. If you have a non-consumable product, you're basically unemployed until your next sell. You want the repeat sales of consumable products. Whether it's every time someone picks up the telephone, connects to the internet, renews a membership, turns on electricity, or gets to the bottom of a box or a bottle, you want those repeating commissions because it can pay you again and again. Number 3 is timing. Primarily here I'm talking about trends in timing. During all cycles of the economy, there are people who are making money and losing money. The makers are the ones in front of large trends. The losers disregard trends. How do you get in front of large trends? You study what creates them. Without any hesitation, in today's society, it's the baby boom generation that creates the largest trends. The baby boomers are a group of babies born between 1946 and 1964. There were 76 million of them born in the United States, 1 billion of them worldwide. Why is this group so talked about? They're 1/3 of the U.S. population and control 65% of all the money. So what are the next trends? Health, looking younger, education, retirement, security, and money. Those are some of the big trends. So if you want to be brilliantly compensated, you must focus on industries and companies that have positioned themselves in front of these trends. Number 4 is leverage. I'm going to spend some time on this one. We're not really taught this in our society. We're taught to go get a good education, build a resume, and exchange our expertise for someone's dollars. The problem with that is if we're not exchanging our expertise, we're not making any dollars. So vacation time is costly. A walk around the golf course, costly. Family time, although extremely important, is costly. I'll define the word leverage as an increased means by which to attain something. One form of leverage is investing $5 million and earning 10% interest, which will yield you about 41 grand a month in income. So whether you're enjoying family time or playing golf or vacationing, you're still enjoying 41 grand a month in income. You're leveraging off your money. That's a leverage everyone would love, but very few have it. Let me explain another kind of leverage that's available to everyone, including yourself. Incidentally, if you get nothing out of this videotape than a better understanding of this little simple concept I'm going to explain, you'll have gained something very valuable for viewing it. Imagine, if you will, that you own a company. You employ just one person, me. I work for 8 hours on Monday. You work for the same 8 hours on Monday that I do. Now listen closely. You get paid on 16 hours worth of work because you take a portion of my productivity as income back to yourself. You're leveraging off my efforts because I'm your employee. So theoretically, the more employees you have working for you, the more leverage you have. However, have you ever had employees? If you have, you know that in theory, hiring employees sounds great, but it's very difficult to reach leverage through employees. I've heard it said that if you have one employee, you have one headache. If you have 100 employees, you run an adult daycare center. And the reason being is this: no employee will ever work as hard for your company as you will, because they don't own it. As soon as the boss walks out of the office, it's throw the feet up on the countertop, make long-distance phone calls. When the employee goes to the supply cabinet, they don't grab just one pen. They grab a handful of pens and Post-it notes and paper clips and rubber bands, right? I'm sure you've never done anything like this, but many people do. Here's my rule of thumb for reaching true leverage. If there's one sentence that epitomizes the entire video, it would be this: to have true leverage, you must create a situation where everyone has the same amount to gain. Only then do you have true leverage. Let me give you an example of this type of leverage. Let's say that I'm a real estate broker, and I hire an agent named Robert. Robert goes out and sells a building. Robert earns a percentage of the selling price of the building, and so do I, the broker. Why do I, the broker, earn a percentage when it was Robert who sold the building? Well, I did some of the advertising. I trained Robert. I had the initiative to go get my broker's license in the first place. I put up the risk. I did a lot of things. And so it's valid that I, as the broker, earn my money. But Robert doesn't work for me as an employee. He's an independent contractor. He just hangs his real estate license on my wall. My point here is the broker and the agents have the same amount to gain from the sale of the home. It's totally in the agent's interest to earn more money, which is a form of leverage for the broker. Now, I'm going to continue with this broker-agent discussion because I'm not quite done. But I just wanted to stop for a second and let you know that that completes my 4 principles of evaluating a business. Let me recap them. Number 1 is a huge expanding market. Number 2 is a unique consumable product. Number 3 is timing. And number 4 is leverage. If you understood those 4 items, not only do you now know how to place value to a business, but you also have a better conceptual understanding of business than most people do. Let's continue this discussion concerning leverage because it's an extremely important one, as you'll see. There is a flaw in this leverage situation that I've shown you, and it's this. The broker can have multiple agents, but the agents cannot. The broker has leverage. The agents don't. Until the agents do what most brokers dread. What happens when I, the broker, have been real effective at teaching Robert to be a good agent? What's Robert going to want to do in a couple of years? Be his own broker, right? Is this good for me, the broker? No, because as soon as he becomes a broker, 2 bad things happen to me. Number 1, he breaks away from me and I lose him as an income source. And 2, worse than that, he's now my competitor that I trained. He knows all my good stuff. By the way, this doesn't just happen in the real estate industry. It happens in practically every industry. Have you ever heard the expression, I'm just going to work there for experience? What does that mean? It means I'm going to strip them of their knowledge and then go do it myself. If you're a business owner, how many people have you trained who are no longer working for you? How many people have you trained to be your competitors? Well, this gets worse. Let's say that Robert is now a broker right down the street. What will he do now that he's a broker? He'll go out and hire his own agents. And let's say one of those agents is Linda. Linda also eventually wants to be a broker. So she becomes a competitor to me that I indirectly trained, as well as Robert, who I directly trained. And this continues on and on. I actually created a chain of competitors that I trained. What if we did a whole paradigm shift? Here's where this becomes brilliant. Let's say instead I'm going to empower Robert to become a broker. I want him to become a broker from day one. See, the only way that you or I can retain a leader is provide him or her with the same opportunity for growth that we have. Hence, an opportunity where everyone has the same amount to gain. So from day one, I'm going to encourage Robert to be a broker. And when he does, he doesn't break away from me and become my competitor. He shifts from agent to broker, which now allows him to sponsor his own agents. Now, to create an incentive for me, the broker, to always help Robert and his agents, I'm still going to earn a percentage of what he and his agents sell. And shouldn't I? I trained him. I put up the risk and all those reasons I mentioned earlier. Now, the percentage I earn from Robert and his organization should be a lot smaller than when he was an agent, but I should still earn a percentage. That's my incentive to keep working with them. Now, some people look at this and say, gosh, isn't that one of those pyramids? And what's the perception of a pyramid? People at the top make all the money and the people down below do all the work, right? Isn't that the perception of a pyramid? Let me explain why this is not a pyramid and why people at the top don't necessarily make all the money. Let me just make a quick point before I discuss the pyramid issue. It's not the geometric shape that people have a problem with. This geometric shape is probably the shape of your family tree, the shape of our government. To the architect, it's the strongest structure known to man. Every organizational structure in the world is this shape. So the shape isn't the problem. However, that perception, people at the top earn all the money, let me illustrate that for you. Here's a typical corporation. At the top, you have a CEO, which stands for Chief Executive Officer. Does the president earn more money than the CEO? Not normally. How about below the president? Do any of the vice presidents earn more money than the president? No. Let me ask this question, and I want you to really think about it. What would happen if some of the vice presidents of a corporation made more money than the president? Really, what would happen? Talk about total confusion. This whole process is called delegation. Each level of the corporation earns less income. The reason the president can tell the vice president what to do is because they make more money. The reason a middle manager can tell the staff and employees what to do is because they make more money. So the corporate structure is people at the top making the majority of the money, and the people at the bottom do not. The CEO of any corporation earns off the productivity of, or is leveraged off of, everyone in his or her corporation. Whether that CEO personally hired every employee or someone else in the company hires them. So the CEO, and only the CEO, earns on multiple levels of his or her company. And the model that I'm suggesting as being brilliant is where you, the individual, are given that same opportunity to earn on multiple levels of brokers and agents. In network marketing, you, the individual, are given the opportunity to earn off the productivity of the people in your organization, whether you personally sponsor them or someone in your organization sponsors them.